We have a special treat tonight, a special guest, and I don't want to steal her thunder, so I'm just going to introduce her. This is Catherine deRoxlo.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Closer? How's this? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The next piece of music that the orchestra is going to play was composed by Guillermo deRoxlo, my grandfather. And this will be the premiere performance of this piece, which is very exciting for me. Additionally, this is going to be the first time that I will hear any of his music performed in front of an audience, so I'm very excited. And I asked Dana if I could say a few words and share a little bit about Guillermo and how it ends up that this piece is going to be performed tonight. So Guillermo deRoxlo was born in 1887. He was a violinist and a composer and a symphony conductor. And he grew up in Barcelona, Spain, and went to school there at the University of Barcelona. And after that, he went to the Paris Conservatory of Music and studied under Gabriel Fauré, a famous French composer. And while he was in Paris, he was granted a commission by the Colombian government in South America to compose some music for their Centennial celebration. So in 1920, he traveled to Bogota, Colombia, and to learn about the culture and to write a composition, and he composed an opera there called Maria, I believe, that was played for their Centennial celebration. Now, in the 1920s, if anyone knows their world history, Spain had a very long civil war, and it was a very dangerous time for my family. And his relatives and parents recommended that he not come back to Spain, and they urged him to stay away because it was so dangerous there. So he ended up staying in South America for about 70 years and traveled around all around South America as a guest violinist in different cities. And he ended up in Havana, Cuba. And in Cuba, Cuba was not the Cuba we know today. It was a very vibrant city with beautiful beaches and casinos and a lot of culture. And he organized a symphony orchestra there and conducted for about 3 years. And while he was there, he met an American who agreed to sponsor him to the United States. So in 1932, my family, not knowing any English, not having much money, knowing one family, moved to Charlotte, North Carolina, and Guillermo there started the first Charlotte Symphony Orchestra, and he conducted there for about 12 years. This was an honorary position, which means no money. He did not have, he was not paid for the position at first. I think at the end they said that he made about $100 a year, and there was no money for music, and my dad remembers him writing out all the musical sheets for each piece of music that the symphony played his whole time, the whole 12 years that he was there. So in 1945, he moved to Phoenix, Arizona, and he was here for about 3 years, and started a chamber orchestra and also led the symphony orchestra in some original compositions that he wrote. After that, he moved on to Seattle, and he died in about 1966. So about a year ago, my dad gave each of his 4 children some of the original music that my grandfather had written. And it's really beautiful because it's all handwritten. And he gave me this piece in particular because I lived in Phoenix, and it was written in 1946 when he lived in Phoenix. I just started thinking, it's so beautiful to look at, and I thought, I wonder what it sounds like. And I started asking around and to see if anyone could play it for me, and through some friends of friends, Dana Grayfield was contacted, and he said he was interested in looking at it. And so I rushed out to Kinko's and made a copy and sent it to him. And I heard a response back that this looks nice, but where's the music for the instruments? And I didn't know that you needed individual scores for all of the musicians. And so it ends up this was probably never played because there weren't individual music pieces for each of the musicians. But then we had a dilemma because I couldn't write it, and it's very time consuming. So Bob Willers, who's a member of the orchestra, and come on out, Bob. Bob graciously volunteered his time and his talents to make all the music that all the musicians have this evening. So I just really want to thank Dana for making this evening possible, and Bob for his all the work that he did to put this together. I'd really like to thank all the musicians. Aren't they fantastic? I mean, I did not inherit any musical talent at all, so it's just amazing to me that people can play things, these instruments the way they do. And Bob, when I got the music from my dad, he also gave me 2 of his batons. And I was wondering if you would mind using one of the batons this evening to play. I've got 2. This one is a fairly sturdy baton. I think it's made out of pine. And my dad said he was very strict. He was a very strict disciplinarian, so I kind of imagine this is the one he used to wrap people's heads in knuckles. And if you need to do any disciplining tonight, do you think we need to? Okay. So I have this other baton that I think is ebony and silver. It was my grandfather's. So thank you all very much for being here this evening and supporting Phoenix College and